Every single play, from the trenches to the touchdown, leading the way. Pigskin Platoon, yeah, it's the Pigskin Platoon.
All right, so we left off with some of the linebackers, and now we want to talk about some of the guys that are going to be more of your edge rushers that are more committed this year. Now, like some of them are like going to be like defensive line slash linebacker positions, so you can switch them between both, which is really cool for some of these players. Um, we generally want to like we see the breakouts a year before, and so like last year some of these guys like really like popped off, and hopefully will continue that like pop off like to like into this year, which will be really nice and show that these guys are like true dedicated starters.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, coming in at number one, who do you got, Mr.
So we got Will
Boston?
Anderson here. So Will Anderson Jr. So he plays for the Minnesota. Wow. He plays for the Texans. So he's going on to his fourth year in the league, and it was to me it's really impressive to see um how good he's been. First year, 161 points fantasy. So this is all fantasy points that he's done. So 161 and a half points in his 23 season. So right off the back, he's already pretty much he's going to be the guy. You can tell. The next year, he put up 160 and a half points, and then his last year, 217 and a half. So I see him climbing here at this point because you're still Texans still going to have an outstanding defense. I know they've added so. But yeah, he's a guy that for like drafting, when you go to draft your defense, he's going to be really solid there. And he's going to be a guy that's going to have a lot of longevity. He's only 24 years old. So he doesn't even like really, he's moving into his prime now. And I think he's going to be outstanding as he progresses.
Yeah, fully agree with that. Back in 2025, his stats he had which are freaking phenomenal. He had 54 total tackles, 35 of them were solos. So a little over half, a bit over half. And then 12 sacks, 20 tackles for loss, three forced fumbles, two fumble recoveries, and a defensive touchdown.
Oh,
No wonder why this guy was a defensive player of the year last year. I think, but honestly, like he is a generational talent that is he is finally like up there on that pedestal. I think if it's not last year, it's definitely this year that he is going to show that he is up there with Myles Garrett, Aiden Hutchinson, um, TJ Watt, you name it. Like, those bigger names like Max Crosby and Trey Hendrickson, like these guys, or Henderson, like those guys are really generational talents. And definitely Will Anderson, like, is one of the one of my favorites. I have him, and I'm like super happy I was able to like snatch him in my draft a couple years ago before he was like a big thing. I loved him just because back in college they called him the Human Terminator, and I loved that nickname. And
that's sick.
he is not disappointed in that either. But just going back, like in 2023, his rookie year, he already produced 161 points in Dynasty. And then he still stayed consistent when it came to 2024 at 160 and a half points. And then he really bounced upwards, even higher. And he played 17 games, which was the most that he's played in a year. And he had 217 points in Dynasty. There's no question you should not have him like that. You
Mhm.
need to have this guy on your team.
He's gonna be an absolute cornerstone or whatever, or for starting off with a good defense in fantasy. So
Yeah, for sure. I even would even stretch it to even say that he could even hit like 13 to like almost 15 sacks this year. I
mhm.
could see that. I could see that 100%.
He's the one guy that I can see probably coming closest to being
Mhm.
able to beat Miles Garrett's sack record.
honestly.
Hmm.
He's fast too.
Yeah.
Elusive, big, strong. Yeah. All right, number two, who do you got?
So I got Nick Benito here. So Nick Benito, so we can go past 3 seasons for him. Um, he had in 25, so last year he had 150 or 195 and a half points fantasy, 238 point 7, and then his 2023 season, he had 137 and a half points. So he's starting to fit into this to the defense that he's now a part of with the Broncos. And I see him being able to continue to grow in that. I think a lot of his drops is because nobody saw him coming in the 2024 season and how good he was going to be. And then in 2025, they're like, okay, this is a guy to be looking out for. He's going to be a problem behind the line. And I feel like he's going to fit his groove here. So I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see him picking up even more points next year. Probably still hitting that 195 to 200 points fantasy. Um, he's a guy that I'm pretty sure is going to be consistent. I mean, he's going on to his fifth year um, in the and with the Broncos, and he's just going to be a guy if you need somebody who's kind of a vet or a veteran coming in. Yeah, he's going to be great.
Yeah. Last year, he had 46 total tackles, 31 of them were solos. He had 14 sacks, 14 tackles for loss, and two forced fumbles. And what's crazy is that the NFL will still look at him as an underrated linebacker. And I don't see how he can be underrated at this like amount of production that he puts up. He's very explosive, very elite. Like he is another guy that you just put in your lineup and then you just leave it alone at that point. Like he is your number one starter. Full confident in that. And right now he is 26, about to be 27 this year. And he's like just hitting his absolute prime. And there should be no reason not to have him in your lineup. And if you got someone like Fred Warner or I don't know, like TJ Watt, with him, he could be your IDP backup if unless you have like a crazy defense, and then you have like a third best linebacker here that you can rotate with.
Mm.
But honestly, like he is one of my favorites, and in my just as a history that I see here too, in Dynasty, someone had dropped him back in 2023, and I picked him up actually in 2024, and I've had him since. And so he has been my bailout player.
And yeah, so like he's a linebacker, but and a defensive line guy. So I mean, he's going to be pretty versatile for you. You need somebody to fill in that defensive line guy, he's going to be there. You need somebody to fill in that linebacker. I mean, he's there. So I think he's going
Yeah,
to be really good.
yeah, I
Anybody?
think he's elite.
All right. So my third guy here, I'm going to move on to Dallas Turner. I like this guy. He's only in his second year, so he's moving on to his third year in the league now. He so his first year in the league, 24, 55.8 points. Not too bad. The following year, he jumped it up pretty substantially, like tripled his point production, 170 and a half points. So he's going on to his third year behind the same defense or with the same defensive guys. He's gonna pick it up. I think he's gonna be that kind of guy that he's as he's progressing, he's just gonna do better, and he's gonna be a guy that's nobody's really gonna look at. I don't know how many people honestly have him or what his okay, so like he's rostered in 64% of leagues and he started 31% of the time. So he's kind of not really a guy that's looked at too much currently, but I just he's right there. He's on the cusp. He's 23 years old. He's only going to do better.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I'm looking at his points from last year, and he doesn't have many small games, but when he's out there on the field, oh my gosh, he's putting up like 14 to like 28 game or points per game.
Mhm.
Um, and I've seen a few of these where they're pretty consistent as long as he's like getting the snap percentages. Yeah, he at his age, he is definitely like another one that's like already starting to prove himself to be elite,
Yeah,
and no one really talks about him at all. Like you're right, like he's not a guy that a lot of people will turn their heads towards and see how well he actually is. I mean, just a last year alone, like 170 points. He had 66 total tackles, 29 solo tackles, 37 assists, 8 sacks, and four forced fumbles. Yeah, that's some like elite status production right there already. If you had a few like turnovers and maybe a touchdown, you're up there with like Will Anderson maybe.
mhm.
But yeah, I think he's gonna be another one that's gonna be he's gonna be true explosion when out the gates this year. I don't see why he wouldn't like continue his reign of like putting up points.
Yeah, and it's part of a defense that honestly I overlooked these guys. Never really looked into Minnesota Vikings defense, so maybe that's why he passed. Well, I know that's probably why he passed me. And looking at him and just doing studying and looking up guys who's young, who's looks like they're coming up this year, somebody to have, and he was one guy that popped up there. I'm like, he's gonna do pretty good if I project him to continue. So
Yeah, yeah, that I agree. And like you said, like when you overlook some of these teams, there's always that hidden gem in most defenses. And honestly, Vikings, like they have their flaws, but honestly, their defense is so underrated. And like there's not a whole lot of like big name talents on that defense. So it's easy to kind of like overpass the defense of the Vikings. But honestly, their defense is pretty like I would say like a B minus. I
yeah.
think their corners maybe need a little work, but overall, like I think that they have like a really good, like somewhat well-rounded defense.
Hmm.
And he's definitely going to be one of those guys that's going to pop off, kind of like I wouldn't put him on the pedestal of Miles Garrett, but like he's going to definitely shine more of like like a standout for his defense
Yeah,
for a couple more years to come.
gonna be consistent. That's what I project
Yes.
is just pure consistency out of this guy. So for fantasy production, he may not be like your number one guy, but he'll be there for your good second, third, you know. But
Yeah, I fully agree. All right, so who is your number 4 here?
so I got Jared Verse here. So Jared Verse just getting traded to the Browns. Um, gonna be on a whole new team. We might see a little bit of a production dip from him this year because he's got a whole new defense, but a whole new defensive scheme, everything. But look at where Miles Garrett's been since 2018. To me, arguably one of the best players to come out of the 2018 draft was Miles Garrett. So you're still going to see a little bit of a shakeup on the defense there. It wasn't the same defense that brought Miles up, but you're looking at a guy that I think's young. He's produced last year, and he's only going to it's yeah, he's gonna do good. So like his first year there in in LA, he did 188 points, and then last year he did 211 and a half points. So you're gonna see he's gonna continue to produce because he's gonna be out there just about every snap for that defense.
Yeah, and when he got traded, they were saying that it was pretty fair of a trade. Granted, man, Um, I don't know if they should have just stuck with, like a younger version. I want to say this is probably going to be the closest we're going to have right now as like a Miles Garrett Jr.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's kind of like a head scratcher in a way because like I know that like they want to like the Rams want to win now,
Yeah.
but Jared Verse like I think he would have been a solid piece for the future, and getting Miles Garrett's kind of like a short term, which I mean for a Seahawks member, I'm okay with that. Like I'm happy about that because it doesn't mean that we're gonna have that for a longer period of time. But yeah, you're right. He right off the gate, as a rookie, he almost cracked 200 points, and like he is another one that I would say is like another like generational talent. Um, you're right. He might dip, may or may not, depending on how well his skills are transitioning into a different scheme of a defense. But yeah, 2025, his stats was 58 total tackles, 35 solos, 23 assists, 7.5 sacks, three forced fumbles, and he actually made it as a Pro Bowler. And so I think that really just shows you what kind of a player he is already. He's very, very explosive off the line. He's very elusive, and he can get to that quarterback really, really fast too. Um, I mean, I don't, for the Browns, that's like a win. Hopefully he still, he puts up the same production. But I honestly think that if the Rams wanted to like build for the future, it probably wasn't the best idea to get rid of him
No.
because he's such a good, edge rusher that, why get rid of him?
I think the Rams are just in this mindset right now that it's like, hey, we need to hurry up and get a Super Bowl before Matthew Stafford retires. So,
It's true.
all right. So the last guy I got here, let's see if I butcher his name. Leilatu Latu. He's going on to his third year with Indianapolis Colts. He put so for his first 2 years, he's another guy that he's a bit on the young side, so he's gonna be really good for fantasy football or dynasty fantasy football. And his production was great or was good during his first year. So in 24, he put up 103 points, and then his second year, he put up 172.3. I fully believe that he's gonna continue to progress. He's got a good future ahead of him with this team. And with it only being what he's 25, he's going on to his third year. He's going to get that defense known. He's going to know that defense a little bit better, and he's going to progress.
Yeah, I fully agree. Super young talent. He definitely the Colts definitely scored on him for sure. Last year he had 27 solo tackles, 8.5 sacks, three interceptions, and then one forced fumble. And which was really nice is that he had that one interception with Patrick Mahomes, which was a really fun one to watch. Um, but yeah, he's all over the field. When I watched his tapes, he's in the like kind of like the mid backfield. And like he's a little bit more talented than a lot of people probably give him credit for. I think his tier production is on a much higher scale than most edge rushers. He's got this like type of ability that um I don't think a lot of quarterbacks really see him coming all that much. Because when I watch these tapes, like it's almost like he kind of sneaks right in and he's like
Hmm.
a little ninja. I see, like I see these quarterbacks, they don't even look at him. Like they think that, oh, my tackle can cover him, and all of a sudden, bam, he just flatlines them. It's fun to watch, and it's like it's crazy to think that this guy, as big as he is, like can be that quiet getting around the line. Um,
6'5", 265 pounds. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Just to keep on a note with this guy, he's another one that you want to like. I would full heartedly say plug and play. He's definitely gonna he's gonna climb upwards even higher this year. I think this is gonna be his ultimate breakout year. He's got elite pressure rate. He's got a top tier pass rushing grade. He's very versatile, and like I told you before, where I see him all over the field, he drops back into coverage too, so he can create those turnovers that no one sees coming, and he's actually really fun to watch,
Yeah.
because he's just all over the place, and it's awesome to see that. And they don't even have him labeled as like a linebacker, which would kind of make sense to
Mhm.
have the linebacker position for him because I see him in the back, so I wouldn't see why they wouldn't. But yep, no, I mean, he's only labeled as a defensive lineman, and yeah, I think he's gonna be their future for sure,
Yeah.
100%.
He's definitely going to be an added piece to that team, and he's going to be significant for sure. And then
Yeah.
significant for
That's it for today from us, guys. Pigskin Platoon, where football lives and hot takes fly like bad trades. Two voices, one game, where we'll catch you guys on the next snap. Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe button, and turn on your bell icon so you can catch all of our updates and all of our football from us. Comment down below and let us know how we did. Let us know what we need to fix or do better on. We really appreciate it. Have a good one.